Hello, Elly here from Thankful Flow Yoga. Thank you so much for joining me for this all levels water inspired yoga flow. So connecting to the water element throughout this practice. And what we'll be thinking about today is moving in a way where we feel as though we're embodying that sense of the support of that water. So imagining as you move through the water surrounding you and supporting your body and flowing in a way as if you have that support. So we'll be connecting to that today, getting stretchy, strengthening. There'll be some fun transitions as well. But as always, listening to your body, taking what you need from the practice and just leaving anything that isn't for you today. I would recommend having a couple of blocks for this practice to hand. If you don't have blocks, maybe some books or something similar. And we're going to come down into a child's pose to get started. You soften into that child's pose, forehead connected to the ground or the hands or maybe a block, closing the eyes or taking a steady gaze. Imagine breathing into the back of your body and the sides, filling up every single part of the body down to the cells with that nourishing in-breath. And then on the exhale, letting out that exhale, breathing out anything that's no longer needed. Just putting anything down you've been holding on to or anything that came before this practice today that you don't need. Letting the muscles and the bones be heavy on the ground, softening. Noticing how you're feeling. Being the observer of your inner space. And starting to open the eyes back up now if you had them closed. On your inhale, I want you to slowly curl the body up into a kneeling position, lifting the head up last. As the head lifts, expand your arms out to the side. Imagine you're drawing energy or gathering something up. And then as you exhale, press it back down. So palms of the hands are facing down, coming towards the thighs. And then see if you can slide the hands back out into a child's pose. So inhale, roll the body up with a rounded spine. Expand the arms out to the side, gathering up that energy. And then grounding it back down. Hands come down to the thighs, let the hands slide down to your mat, reaching back out in front into child's pose. Last one of these, inhale, curling up, expanding out, and grounding back down. This time, bringing the hands down, reaching them out in front. So you're in this kind of child's pose position. On your inhale, you're going to come onto the forearms, lift your hips and let your belly drop down like when we're moving through our cow position. Keep shifting the weight forwards until you bring the weight into the hands and see if you can let the rest of the body float down to the mat into a cobra or an upward dog. On your exhale, round the spine, press the hips back to your child's pose. So when you're ready, sliding forwards on the forearms, let the belly drop down. Bring the weight forwards then into the hands. Maybe you can lift, find a cobra or an upward dog. And then start to bring the hips back to your child's pose. So spinal waves, but doing these from child's pose instead of from a downward dog. So seeing if you can slide forwards on the inhale, hearts lifting, tailbones lifting, lifting up into a cobra or an upward dog. And then exhale, round the spine, sit the hips back to child's pose. Nice, well done. Now we're going to come into an all fours position, so tabletop position on your mat. Float your right leg out behind and sweep the left arm out in front. See how it feels to either work here, breathe here, or you could imagine that this right leg's floating through water out to the side. Can you sweep that left arm out to the left side? And back into center. Well done. Breathe into any wobbles and shakes. Left leg comes out behind, right fingertips reach forwards. So as you sweep the right arm out to the right side, left leg comes out to the left side. And float it back in. Keep imagining floating on water. So one more on each side. Just reduce the range of movements. Make this into something that feels right for you. Reaching out to the side with the arm and the leg. Floating back in and down. And last one. Left leg lifts, right arm lifts. Maybe you're working here. Maybe you're floating out to the side. And coming back in. Nice. Take a deep breath. Tuck the toes under. Exhale, hips to the sky for downward dog. Just remember that child's pose is always there for you if you need to take it. Take any movements that feel good in your downward facing dog. Maybe we'll pedal out through the legs. And then coming into our spinal rolls here. So as you inhale, lifting the shoulders forwards over the wrists, rounding rib cage, drawing in, and then exhale, floating back, hips come to the sky. So inhale, rounding forwards. Exhale, rippling back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, rounding. Exhale, bending. Last one, inhale, coming forwards. Exhale, floating back. Meeting in your downward facing dog. Step or float the feet in. Hang down in a little forward fold. Soften into the legs as much as you need to. Start to walk your fingertips over to the right. Bring them around as far as feels good to until you can breathe into a little side stretch into that left side body. Keep the head dropped. And then walk the fingertips over to the other side. Again, hands could be on blocks here to create a little bit more space. And coming back to center. Nice, well done. Inhale, start to curl the body up with a rounded spine. Reach the arms out to the side, floating them up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach the arms out to the side and up, gathering all that energy up. And then exhale, grounding down into a fold. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen the spine, find your halfway lift. Exhale, hands down to the mat, step the feet back to plank. Flow through your version of vinyasa. Inhaling into an upward facing dog or cobra. And exhaling back to a downward facing dog. Inhale, reach the right leg up and imagine floating through water. How would your leg move if you had water to support it? Look between the hands, step the right foot through and drop the back knee so you're in a low lunge. Hands could come to the blocks here for support. Or you're going to reach the arms out to the side again, up and around. So imagine drawing and floating the arms through water. And then exhale, hands through heart center. One more, inhale, arms floating up and around. Exhale, hands come through to heart center. Now coming into a little transition. Coming into a little transition here, it's an option to bring the hands down to the mat or blocks for support. With this left foot, we're going to pivot so that the left foot is now facing behind, and we open into this right hip, so right leg coming out to the side. So almost like a warrior two, modified warrior two position. We're going to bring this right forearm to the right thigh and reach that left arm up and over. Take a couple of floats with the left arm with your breath. So reaching up and over, imagining floating like water. Option to always bring that right hand down to a block or the inside of that right foot. So we're in this kind of modified version of extended side angle. So then from here now we're going to lift the right hand. So imagining you're in this modified warrior two position, and this left hand is going to come down either to a block or to the mat and find reverse warrior, or modified kind of reverse warrior. So I want you to now bring yourself back through to your modified extended side angle. Hand could be on the mat, or it could be on the forearm, could be on the thigh, and then left hand floats down to the ground or a block, finding that reverse warrior position or similar to. So moving from one to the other, and again seeing how you can move as smoothly and free as if you're swimming through the ocean as you move from one to the other. Nice, last one on each side. Going with your own breath at your own pace, taking a pause at any time. And then coming out as we came in. So either if you want to get spicy, you can keep the hands away and try and do this, or you're going to bring the hands down to the ground or blocks, and you're pivoting that left foot so it's now back out behind, so you're finding yourself back in your right side lunge. Bring the hands down to the ground or blocks to support and activate into this left leg, lifting the knee away from the mat. Pivot into your right side Skandasana, so the right toes are pointing towards the corner of your mat. Your Skandasana could be higher up, maybe it's a little lower down. Feel into what's right for you. Place the right fingertips down, reach the left fingertips up, find a little twist. Well done. Pivot back around, step back to plank and flow through your version of Chaturanga. So inhaling into an upward facing dog or cobra, and exhaling back to downward facing dog. Well done. Take a moment to pause. Take a child's pose if that feels good too, and take a few breaths here, or you can stay in your downward dog. With the left leg up, find your three-leg dog. Imagine floating that left leg through water. Step the left foot through between the hands, drop your back knee so you're in your lunge. Inhale, start to lift the chest, float the arms out to the side, reaching up. Exhale, draw them back through heart center. Inhale, reach the arms up and out to the side. Exhale, float them back through. And last one, inhale, reaching up and around, heart's lifting. Exhale, floating back through. So then we're going to pivot this back foot to point behind. So now we're in this modified position, like a modified warrior two almost. And the left forearm comes to the left thigh, the right fingertips reach up, or that left hand could come to a block or the mat on the inside. So my arm is on the inside of that left leg. Now taking a few floats with just the arm to begin with here. Feeling into that hip space. Imagine that you're at the bottom of the ocean on a bed of sand underneath you, and this arm's just floating through the water. And then we're going to start to lift the chest. Right hand's going to come down to a block or the mat. floating into your reverse warrior position. Well, that's what I'm calling it today. So now we're going to come through from one to the other. So moving into your version of this modified extended side angle, and then moving back to this version of reverse warrior, or it's more of a Vashisthasana. So moving between the two, seeing if you can really kind of, what can you do to make these movements feel smooth and almost effortless. So it's all about that effortless effort. One of the things that you sometimes hear in yoga, moving by using effort, but doing it in an effortless way that appears effortless. So taking your last one on each side, going at your own pace, no rush. And then meeting back in this sort of modified warrior two. And then you can use the hands to support, or you can do it without and pivot back to find that lunge. Nice. So then we're going to pick up the back knee, so power into your back leg. Open out so that you can find your left side Skandasana. So you don't have to be down as low as this, you could be much higher up. See what feels right for you. Option to bring the left fingertips down to the ground, reach the right fingertips up. Float both hands back down to your mat. Pivot and take a big step back to plank. Nice. Flow through your vinyasa, inhaling upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale back to a downward facing dog. From here, inhale, shift the shoulders forward, so coming into plank position. Option to drop the knees, or you can lower down from plank, keeping the elbows tucked in towards the body until you're all the way down on your front. Reach your arms out in front from here. Take a deep breath. Notice your body connected with the ground. Notice your breathing. Reconnecting with your awareness. And then on the next inhale, see how it feels to lift the chest. Maybe the arms and the legs start to lift away from the mat in your locust position. So as another option here, you could bring the hands down to make it into more of a cobra. And you could be working with lifting one leg, then the other instead. So lots of different options. If you've got the fingertips reaching out in front, maybe see how it feels to float the arms out to the side and down to the side of the body, and then float them all the way back up around by the ears. So again, moving with this water element. Keep breathing, try and relax the face. Taking any kind of movements with the arms now that feel good. Almost like that swimming through water. And then bring everything back down to the mat, melt everything down, let the elbows come out to the side, rest the head, close your eyes or soften your gaze. Well deserved rest, softening the muscles. Take a gentle shake with the hips from side to side. If it feels good to you, you can just stay here and rest. Focus on your breath. Or bringing a little bit of movement back into the body. We're going to bring the hands down to the side of the body. And start to Press the mat away with your hands, and as you do so, roll onto your right side and bend your left leg until you come completely up with the left leg bent, right leg lengthened. Place the left hand down, reach the right fingertips up. As you exhale, find your Marichyasana C, twisting to the left. Take a couple of breaths here. Gaze coming over the left shoulder. And then unraveling. So try to come out as you came back in. So hands come back down to the mat. Lower back down with control to your belly. And then press over to the other side. So as you press the mat away, rolling onto your left side, bending that right leg till you're sitting up. So right leg's bent, left leg's lengthened, right hand comes out behind. Reach the left hand up, make space. Exhale, find your Marichyasana C. Twisting to the right. Take a couple of breaths here. Unraveling, coming back down to your belly. And then pressing back to your child's pose. Coming back to where we started the practice. Eyes are closed or gaze is soft, melting into the ground. Letting the weight of your body be fully received by the ground underneath. Finding that sense of softness. So imagining how water feels when it's soft and still. Maybe that sense of floating on the ocean, on a still water, or across a lake. Letting your bones, your muscles, everything become heavy. When you're ready, just start to make your way back to seated. And we'll bring one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. And just gently press the hands into the body, feeling that connection. Feeling your breath, feeling your body moving, maybe your heart beating. And then bringing the hands to meet the ground, honour being in the present moment. Opening the eyes back up when you're ready. Namaste, thank you so much for being here, joining me for that practice. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Do comment to me, let me know how you've got on, and I can't wait to see you again very, very soon. Take care.